All right, so for this video, we're going to set up a goal, right? A checkpoint or something that we want to get to the end of. And when we get there, we win. I fleshed out my level a little bit just to have some more stuff in here. And I set up a flat area that can be used as the goal. Now, if you look in your asset folder, you're going to find Fantasy Platformer Props V2. And instead of Fantasy Platformer Props V2, you'll see the props all together or static props, static sprites. I'm going to use static sprites. And here we have some things that we could use as the kind of ending area. And even things we can just add in just to have as like flavor or having something in the background. I'm going to work with this banner. And I'm going to go ahead and drag that into my scene. I can see right now it's too small. So I will go and I'll set the pixels per unit to be 16. See what happens when we do that. That seems appropriately sized. Yeah, that works. Then I will set the filter mode to point no filter. And we don't actually need to cut it out because we're using a static sprite that's there. We can just use that. And you could do the same thing with these different, pots or torches or whatnot. You can add in stuff into the background that's just there that don't really affect your gameplay. You simply just drag that in, set it up to the appropriate size, point no filter, so on and so forth. So you can set these up and you can even look up how to add a light source there. And so this banner there, I'm going to actually create a new empty. So I'm going to create empty and I'll call this finish line. I'm going to take my banner and put it inside a finish line. I'll set the position of the banner to be 0, 0, 0. Then select my finish line and I'm going to drag it over. Stick that in the ground. Go to tag. I'm going to add a tag and I'm going to call this finish line. Notice the capital F, capital L. Then assign that to my finish line. Now I'm going to add component, physics 2D, and we're going to do a box collider 2D. And I'm going to make this pretty big. Where if we touch this, and we want it to be very, very clear when we touch it, that, we can end the game. So I'm going to make this really big, offset this so it sits right. Then set it to be is trigger. So I now have a banner and it'd be cool if this had an animation, but we'll just work with the static one. This banner is going to be our finish line. When we touch this, the game should end. How do we do that? Well, there's a couple different things we could do. Well, one, we want it to say like in big letters on the screen, you win or something like that. And we want it to play a sound effect. And we want to give the player the ability to restart the level. Normally it would go to the next level, but we only have one level. So we want to be able to restart the level. In fact, we actually want to restart the level when our player dies. So we can kind of do that at the same time. The first thing we can do pretty easily is have our UI say in big letters, you win. So I'm going to go to my canvas. With the canvas selected, I'm going to press F to zoom out. And I'm going to right click UI text TMP Pro. And I'm going to put in here big letters, you win. I'll set the alignment to be center aligned. And I'm going to drag the position up a little bit to make it not quite in the center. We can check the game and see how that looks. And let's make this even bigger, bolder. Let's make it bold and color. I'm going to make it bright green. And I'm going to increase the character spacing to make it real wide and big. Maybe increase the font size even more. I'll have to make the size of the object bigger accordingly, but increase the character spacing and the font size is real big. Then I'm going to select the width and I'm going to make this wider so it's pretty big, and then drag the position back up some more. That's pretty clear. Color, maybe go blue instead. So right now when we press play, this is going to show automatically. I don't want that. So with that win text selected, I'm going to first off name it win text. Then I'm going to hit this little checkbox. that will disable it. It's still in the scene, but it's disabled. It's not showing. We can actually activate it when we hit the banner. So for that, we're going to open up our game manager script. So we want a reference to the text. So I'm going to actually go to my health text update. And here we have this variable for text mesh pro UGUI. I'm going to copy that, go back to game manager and paste that. Instead of health text, I'm going to have this be win text. And this is throwing an error. That's because we need to set up using TM Pro. So we now have a reference to win text. We create a function, public void finish level. We can actually just simply say wintext.enabled equals true. So this will turn on the win text. It's off by default. We'll turn that on when we should trigger that win text. I'm going to go into Unity, and before I forget, because I will forget, I always do, I'm going to assign that. So I'm going to go to my game manager object, and I'm going to assign the win text there. Now we have the ability to activate the win text, but we haven't actually activated it yet. What we want it to do is when our player collision hits the banner, the finish line, we want it to trigger that win text. So I'll go to my player collision scripts. And here in on trigger enter 2D, I'm going to copy and paste because I don't want to write it all out. I'm going to copy and paste one of these if statements here. And if we hit the finish line, win text dot game object dot set active to true. So delete what was there and put this in here instead. And now this should work. You win, yay. Now I can still play, I can still move, I can still do a bunch of other stuff, and it doesn't trigger audio. So not quite there yet, but we're making progress. In order to make it so we can play a sound using the observer pattern, copy this observer that we have for the is living and paste it. And I'll say one game. So by default, we want one game to be false. We go down to our finish level. We have this, and let's do one game equals true. So we set that up. One game dot value. Sorry, that value equals true. And we can then go into player sounds. This should probably be a whole different script, but we'll just do it in here for the sake of time. I'm going to copy the audio clip for throw sound, and I will do win sound. I'll create a function and copy and paste. And we'll do play win sound. And we'll have it trigger the win sound. So we'll save that. Go into Unity. Then I'm going to go to my player character. And I'm going to find a win sound. So I'll go to audio and I'll find something that works. Now, in the audio assets that I have linked in Google Classroom and in the video, you're going to find some different audio clips, but I'm going to use the ones that I have built in here for right now. So with my player character selected, I'm going to drag this war horn E in for the audio clip to play. Then I'm going to go to my game manager, and then I'm going to expand one game. We'll set this up where it will trigger that audio. So I'm going to attach my player character. The function is going to be player sounds, play win sound. Press play. right, so it plays a sound. All right, so now we want to have the ability to restart the level after a delay. So I'm going to go to my game manager script. I'm going to go to the very top, and I'm going to import a new using. So we'll do using Unity engine .scene management. And I'm going to create a new function. It'll be a public void restart level. And then we just have to do scene manager dot load scene, and then scene manager again dot get active scene parentheses dot name, then semicolon at the end. So this will get the current scene and then load it in, so it'll restart the level. I can then go into my finished level function, and I can trigger restart level. Hit save, and then go back to Unity. All right, so with the game running, I then run into it, and it restarted it, but it did it right away. It's not quite what we want to happen. So we can add a delay. Now to make it delay, we can use this thing called invoke. So I'm going to type in, I'm going to make a new line there. I'll do invoke. And then we'll say name of, then parenthesis, restart level. Then outside the parentheses there, we'll do comma, and we'll set a delay of 3F. The semicolon at the end. Then I'm going to remove this restart level function call there. Now this should delay restarting level by 3 seconds. And we'll try that out, see what happens. It should work. 1, 2, 3, and it worked. It now restarted level. So cool. Now I need to make it delay a little bit longer. I'll do 5 seconds or however long my audio clip is. Then I'll restart that level. And then I'm actually going to grab my player character. I'm going to bring this over because the finish line's done. I'm going to trigger, or I'm going to set up where I can die, because I want to set up where once I die, it will also trigger the restart level. So right there, once the animation stops, I want to restart the level. So easy enough. I'm actually just going to copy. I'm going to get rid of that comment. I'm going to copy this, and after I do the health check, right, I then am going to invoke that restart level with a delay of 5 seconds. Leave that there too. And restart the level. The timing of that, not quite great, so I'll make it a little bit shorter, but that's pretty much it. You can play around with those values, but that's more or less the game. You have all the primary features. Now it's all just about finishing up what you have, fixing a few like little visual bugs. So that's it for this one. Thanks.